How's it going, everybody? If you're here today, that means you've probably purchased an FRP cam kit, and it's going to come with these things called a lockout or a limiter. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to explain to you what you're installing if you don't already know at this point. So this right here is what we call a phaser gear. It sits on the front of your camshaft, and its responsibility is to actually assist in advancing or retarding the timing. So this is why you see this, which is the variable valve timing on the newer Gen 3 Hemis, the VVT. Sometimes we use this, sometimes we don't. It kind of depends on how big your camshaft is, and I'm sure if you ordered this kit from FRP, it's going to come with whichever limiter or lockout you need. Some of the larger cams require a lockout so that this cannot move. Some of the smaller Hellfire Mark 82 cams will come with a limiter, which will still allow the VVT to work, just not in its full capacity. So whichever one you have, today's going to be a video, and I'm going to tell you how to install this when you get it from FRP. It's going to come in a box just like this. There will be a set of instructions just like this, and basically this is what we're going to go over so you have a video if you're a visual person and you want to know how to do it yourself. So step one, we're going to clean this off, and you're going to flip it over, and you're going to realize what you have here. These are T25s. To do this install, you're going to need a T25 of sort. If this is your favorite T25, you might want to get a different one. These tend to break. No matter if you get Pittsburgh, Craftsman, Snap-on, they tend to break a lot. So if you want to get something on the cheaper end, get like a Pittsburgh from Harbor Freight. That way you can break it, go get another one. But you're going to need a T25. You're going to need a paint marker. You're going to need a flathead screwdriver. You're going to need blue Loctite. You're going to need a torque wrench. And then you're going to need a 3/16 Allen for the lockout tool. And then you're just going to need your lockout kit from FRP or your limiter kit. So first we're going to start by flipping it over, and we're going to identify where we're using our parts on the install today. So the first part, you're going to see a window here, and there's going to be a pin right here. That pin, do not take it out. So your first step is going to be identifying the pin that's holding both springs. If you take this out, you will have to buy an entirely new phaser limiter. There's no way to rewind that spring. So we're going to take this, and we're going to put our finger, we're going to flip it over. That is the bolt there. Here's where our paint marker comes in. Shake that, and we're going to put an X on top of that one. You can write no, you can write whatever you want. We're going to put an X on top of that one. Do not remove that bolt. So now, right here, we're going to have these holes. Now, on the left side of that pin, you're going to see there's another pin in between the two springs. This is where your phaser lock tool is going to come into play. Sometimes on some kits, this will slide right on it. Sometimes you'll need a flathead. So you might have to take a flathead on the smaller portion of the spring, like I'm doing there, and you might have to move it out of the way just a little bit so you can get the tool in. So you can go right here. So basically go on the other side of the hole, and you can wiggle that, and it'll allow that to install there through the hole. Make sure that the pin is inside in between the two springs, and we're going to take this. Now the big key to this is do not over tighten this. You're just going to put a dent in the side of it. The only reason you're tightening this is to make sure it doesn't slide off. So we're going to take it, we're going to turn it half turn. That's all you need. Wiggle, it's not going to move. So now we're going to flip over. Now that bolt can be removed along with all of the other T25s. So we're going to do that now. They are on pretty tight. All right, now the one that we marked as an X does not come out, but you're required to loosen it in order to do this install. So we're gonna go on that one. We're gonna loosen it just until we break it loose. And do like maybe one turn. Just enough there. If we have to do more, we'll come back later. So now we're going to go ahead and take the rest of these out. Now these should come out without any force. Now if you're doing the one that's right here where your tool is, watch it and make sure it stays in. Now once you start loosening it, you should be able to unscrew it by hand like this and pull it out. If you hear a pop, you messed up. Now there is a way you can fix that to an extent. You can go underneath and you can push the springs with screwdrivers and get it to wedge to where you can get the pin back in. But it's a whole lot of hassle and it might cause problems later, so just don't do that. Now we're going to take the rest of these out that we've already loosened. These should be very easy to come out. Set all those off to the side because we're going to need those later. Alright, so now that we have that, we're going to put our X, or our yellow circle, at 12 o'clock. We're going to rotate this up. First step is going to be to take some parts cleaner, spray it inside. You want to get all the old oil out. And remember, parts cleaner can eat that paint that you just used on that paint marker, and it might not be there anymore. So now that we have that at 12 o'clock, we can still see our mark there. If you want, you can go back, mark it again. Now we're going to take our lockout tool, which is right here. Now if you have a limiter, it's going to slide in. You're done, then you'll finish this process. If you have the lockout, you're going to have to put the insert inside after you put it in. So look at both sides. One side's bigger, one side's smaller. Smaller side's going to go inside. At 12 o'clock, we're going to count 1 hole beside, 2 holes beside. When I say holes, I'm not talking about the little circles where we're putting the bolts. I'm talking about the holes right here where you can insert the limiter. So 1, 2. The second one, we're going to face the smaller portion inside, and we're going to drop that in there just like that. Now we're going to take our dowel right here, and we're going to put blue Loctite on it, and then we're going to drop it inside of what we just did, and then we're going to take an Allen and we're going to tighten this down until it does not move. So if you can do that, it's too loose. So it's going to take some force to get this in where it needs to be. So if you can pull it out, it's too loose. And like that, it doesn't come out anymore. You want to tip it over. It's not falling out. So you know this is installed, fully seated how it's supposed to be. Now we're going to take this and close it. And we're going to go ahead and put our bolts back in. These bolts are going to need blue Loctite. But before you put blue Loctite, there's one very important thing you have to do. Find the one that's longer than all the rest of them, which is the one that has the pin on the end of it. This is the first one you want to install because you want to make sure that it's right. It's going to go right where your tool is, because that's the one we're using to hold the place of this pin. So we're going to get it in. So I'm going to put the Loctite on it. That one there. I'm going to go ahead and put these other ones in. We've already identified where that one goes. Loctite. Loctite. Alright. Now if you're in here and you're trying to get these started, get them started by hand. And some of these smaller ones will help to align the gears for the larger one. Now you have to remember that we do have a tool that's in there right now that's holding the space between the spring, so it might be a little tough to get that dowel to start lining back up. So as you see now, all mine lined up. If yours does not, what you can do is just take your T25 and tap it a few times, turn it, tap, turn it. What you're doing is you're pushing it through the spring. Make sure you don't knock this off. If you knock that off, the same issue is going to happen. So we're going to tighten those down. Just like that. And then we're going to take our torque wrench. You can either use a 1/4 inch, whatever kind you need. And what you're going to do is 150 inch-pounds. Now, if you want to use foot-pounds, what you do is you take your 150 inch-pounds divided by 12. Now you have foot-pounds, which is 12 and a half. So you can go right to 13 and you'll be fine. So you're going to go through and torque all of these to spec. And what you're going to do is just like you would do a wheel when you're installing, do it in a pattern of a star. So top, bottom, left, right, bottom. So do a star pattern around it, tighten those down. Once you get all those tightened, you're going to go back and you're going to remove this tool that you had put on earlier. So remember, we didn't put it super tight, so little turn, and then you're going to wiggle it out. Which sometimes they're a little harder to get out because they're squeezing in between the springs, which is good. So once you get that out, if you see the pin right there, you've done it correctly. If the pin is not there and the spring has gained tension and collapsed, you did it wrong. You're going to have to fix that or replace your tensioner. Same thing with the dowel over here. If this dowel is no longer holding the spring, or if the spring unwinds, you have to get a new tension phaser. There's nothing you can do about that when it completely unwinds. So if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out. FRPtuning.com is on the website. You can contact the warehouse. You can contact them by email. I'll leave all their stuff in the description as to where you can get the tech info. You can call FRP and Isaiah will help you with any questions you may have with this. And until next time, guys, keep modifying your cars. FRP Performance, top of the line cam kits. We're going to go ahead and get the cam kit installed on our car now. So hopefully you guys are doing the same. Hopefully you like this in video. Hopefully it helped you guys out. Until next time, we'll catch you guys later.